Good morning. Welcome back to our history second lesson, Delhi Sultanate. Let's go through that two videos again. Two videos means the content of the two classes once again. Listen very carefully. First one, it was the rulers of Delhi Sultanate. The rulers of Delhi Sultanates were dividing according to 5 dynasties, right? Yes, which are the 5 dynasties? Mamluk dynasty, Kalanji dynasty, Tughlaq dynasty, Sayyid dynasty and the Lodi dynasty, that we know. Yes, starting from this Mamluk dynasty ending with the Lodi dynasty. And the next one, it was the source of information that we were discussing in the last class. Source of information we can divide into 2. Which are they? First one, it is Tawarik writers. Tariq, Jam or plural form is Tawarik, means historians. And another one is that chronicles. Chronicles means they may be appointed by the court, by the king or emperor, or may not be. These chroniclers are writing the history according to a historical sequence, according to the chronological sequence, means according to date, one after another, what was happening importantly, what was the important political happenings that they were recording. This is called a chronicles. Another one is that Tawarik means Tawarik writers are actually wise people who are appointed in the court for writing about the victories of these sultans. Okay, so by this source of information is also coming to an end. And the next one we were discussing in the last class was circle of justice. Circle of justice means on what basis the sultans were ruling the kingdom. What was the circle of justice, or what are the 2 factors in this social order? It is birthright and gender discrimination. Birthright is the right according to the birth. Means, if for example, if one is born in a high class family, he will be able, or he can experience all the facilities of life. On the contrary, when one is born in a poor class family or lower class family, throughout the life, he will be considered as an inferior member of the society. This discrimination is called what? Birthright. Another one is gender discrimination. Gender discrimination is the discrimination on the basis of what? Gender means males on one side and female on another side. Males were considered as high class and superior, and females were considered as inferior class. Means all the facilities or all the important positions were held not by females but by males. This is the circle of justice under Delhi Sultanate and or social order under Delhi Sultanate. Next we were going to the Minhaji Siraj and Razia Sultana. You know that Razia Sultana was the daughter of Iltutmish. Iltutmish was the son-in-law of Qutbuddin Aibak. This Iltutmish had a number of sons and a daughter also, but the daughter was found to be more able, noble, humble and civil. That is why by throwing out all the sons who was coming into the access, who was accessing the throne, who was coming into the power, Razia Sultana. Why? She was able, she was noble, she was humble and civil, and she loved the service very much. So, Razia Sultana was accessing to power for only 6 years. Why? Because the brothers were against her. Brothers were not supporting her because they think that they are keeping a social order of gender discrimination. When this girl is coming to the power, it means it is breaking or violating the law of circle of justice. What circle of justice? That is gender discrimination. And next area, today we can go to the next part, from garrison town to the empire. Garrison town to the empire means it is related with the expansion of the empire. Expansion of the empire, it was 2 terms you can describe it. One is internal frontier, another one will be automatically external frontier. Internal frontier means to understand what is these 2 frontiers, we have to go through 2 terms. One is garrison town, another one is hinterland. Tell me, hinterland. Garrison town, listen very carefully, Garrison town is a well-fortified city. What is fortified city? Yes, fortified city is a city surrounded or with full of heavy or high forts, huge walls. Such a fort with full of arranged soldiers or troops. Arranged soldiers or troops is called what? Garrison town. That means under Delhi Sultanate or Delhi Sultans, they were concentrating upon expanding their kingdom by keeping a well-arranged army always. This army was settled or asked to settle in a town, in a peculiar type of towns. These towns are called garrison towns. Once again, garrison towns are well-fortified cities with arranged troops or soldiers. Then what is hinterland? Hinterland is the adjacent land of garrison town. What is meaning of adjacent? Just near. Just near these troops of city of troops or city of soldiers, there were certain areas. In the area, what were given of all the goods, all the services for this garrison town were arranged. So, for the activeness of this garrison town, what is needed? Hinterland. What is the role of hinterland? Hinterland can provide or supply the garrison town with all the types of goods, including food items, including the agricultural development, everything, and the services also. Many types of services we need, no? Yes, all these services, all these goods were provided by hinterland. Got it? Yes, that this point we have to understand to know about expansion of the kingdom under Delhi Sultanate. Got it? So garrison town and hinterland. Then now we can go to the two areas of this expansion. One is internal frontier. Next one is external frontier. Internal frontier, what policy was followed by Delhi Sultans, we can know now. Okay, listen very carefully. Internal frontier, what was the policy taken by the Delhi Sultans? They were clearing the forest. At that time we know that Delhi is the surrounding area of Himalayan range. So there is a wide possibility of a lot of trees and plants. Many forests were there. But these Delhi Sultans were clearing all the forests, means cutting all the trees. Cutting all the trees and clearing the forest for arranging for what? Keeping these garrison cities. And clearing the forest and they concentrating on the trade and commerce or trade and agricultural development for the hinterland. Because the existence or prevalence of hinterland is needed for keeping troop. For keeping troop means for maintaining garrison. That is the internal frontier. Means to keep a well-occupied army, to maintain a well-arranged soldiers troop, what is needed? Hinterland. To keep hinterland, what should be cleared? All the forests should be cut. This is the internal frontier. Next it is external frontier. What is the meaning of external frontier? External frontier, the sultans were moving nearby area. They want to conquer many adjacent lands, many neighboring lands. For what? To make their kingdom to an empire. We know that what is the difference between kingdom and empire? Kingdom will be small in size, but empire will be vast in size. So, to maintain a vast empire, they want to conquer, they want to attack the neighboring lands. So, naturally, we know that Delhi is in the northwest part of India. They want to come to including up to Bengal. They want to conquer even the southern part of India. So this is the policy that the sultans were following. In this regard, the two rulers, one from Khalji dynasty and another one from Tughlaq dynasty, can be highlighted. From Khalji dynasty, who was the most famous or more powerful ruler, that is Alauddin Khalji, and from Tughlaq dynasty, it was Muhammad bin Tughlaq. So, Muhammad bin Tughlaq and Alauddin Khalji were concentrating their attention to conquer many lands, many neighboring lands inside India itself. At that time, many empires were there in India itself, fighting each other, not at all in unity. So this is the next area from garrison town to the empire. How can Delhi sultans change or convert their kingdom from simply garrison town to an empire? By following two policies. One is internal frontier, next one is external frontier. Internal frontier, they want to maintain a well-occupied army by keeping a garrison town. For maintaining this garrison town, what is needed? Hinterland is needed. Hinterland they were maintaining by cutting the forests and arranging for trade and agricultural development. External frontier, they want to expand their kingdom from Delhi to the eastern part of India, eastern part of West Bengal is there. And they gradually wanted to conquer even the certain parts of South India also. By this garrison town to empire, that part is coming to an end. Next we can go to the masjid culture. Masjid culture, we know that in India, before 12th century, up to 11th century, India was following a Hindu culture. Many temples were being found in India. Many Muslim rulers from Afghanistan, like that countries, were coming to India to conquer or to see or forecasting these rich temples. But from 12th to 15th or 16th century, when Muslim rule was dominating in India, they were converting the Hindu culture to a Muslim culture. This culture or this period is called a medieval period or Muslim period. So naturally, they were building a lot of masjid. Today, let us go through 3 masjid that Delhi sultans were building or erecting. First one, it is Quwwat al-Islam Masjid. Tell me, Quwwat al-Islam Masjid. Quwwat al-Islam Masjid is a masjid. It was actually built by 3 Delhi sultans. First one, Qutbuddin Aibak. Tell me, Qutbuddin Aibak. Next one, it is the Khalji, most prominent Khalji ruler, that is Alauddin Khalji. And the follower or successor of Qutbuddin Aibak, you may know, father of Razia Sultana. Tell me, yes, it is Iltutmish. So, Quwwat al-Islam Masjid was erected or built by 3 sultans. Qutbuddin Aibak, his son-in-law Iltutmish, and next one, it is coming from the next dynasty, most powerful Khalji dynasty, powerful Khalji dynasty ruler, that is Alauddin Khalji. Next one, it is Begumpuri Masjid. Another one is Begumpuri. Begumpuri Masjid was made by, it was, this Quwwat al-Islam Masjid is in Delhi. Delhi, Pune, such a place you can see in your map. Okay. Another one, it is also Begumpuri Masjid. It was made by Khalji. Sorry, Tughlaq, 2 Tughlaq rulers. Who was the most prominent or eminent ruler among Tughlaq dynasty, Muhammad bin Tughlaq. After Muhammad bin Tughlaq, In the building of this Begumpuri Masjid, one more Tughlaq ruler was also participating. His name was Firoz Shah Tughlaq. So, Firoz Shah Tughlaq and Muhammad bin Tughlaq, they were building this masjid in Delhi. It was in Jahanpana. Jahanpana. In Delhi, Jahanpana. These are the names of certain cities in Delhi. One is in Delhi, Pune, and another one is in Jahanpana. That is the Begumpuri Masjid, built by two Tughlaq rulers, Muhammad bin Tughlaq as well as Firoz Shah Tughlaq. And lastly, we can go to another masjid, that is Moth Ki Masjid. The Moth Ki Masjid. Moth Ki Masjid was made in Delhi. It was also a masjid that was made by Delhi Sultan in Delhi by Sikandar Lodi. Tell me, Sikandar Lodi. They were building a lot of masjid. We can go through three masjid. First one, Quwwatul Islam Masjid. Next one, Begumpuri Masjid. And next one, Moth Ki Masjid. Quwwatul Islam Masjid was made by three rulers. Two from Mamluk dynasty and one from Khalji dynasty. Who were the two Mamluk dynasty rulers? Yes, it is the Qutbuddin Aibak and his son-in-law Iltutmish, and then from Khalji dynasty, Alauddin Khalji. Then Begumpuri Masjid was made or built in Delhi, Jahanpana by two Khalji rulers, that is two Tughlaq rulers, Muhammad Tughlaq as well as Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Next, last one, it is Moth Ki Masjid. It was also made in Delhi by Sikandar Lodi. Lodi dynasty, Sikandar Lodi. By this, today's class is coming to an end. I think you might have got what we are talking today. So, thank you so much. Goodbye.